Hello, my name is Patrick Stanley, and I am a graduate student at the GIST program in Eastern Washington University. And for my capstone project, I'll be talking to you about geographic information systems and how they enhance communications by improving public health. So what I'm going to first thing do is go over the background information that should be clarified, as well as going over the study that I'm going to be doing this on. I'll be going over the methodology and results, and then finally I'll show the two products of all of this, being a mobile application and a dashboard. So a little bit about me. As a undergraduate studies, I actually went into urban and regional planning. I decided that I kind of really like the technological aspects, which is why I ended up going to GIS and why I'm actually combining these two together for my final project. One of the major issues that was being discussed about for urban and regional planning is that there isn't really a way for the citizens to communicate very effectively what their needs and wants is to the government. And I thought that the best way to actually do that is to help discuss about public health. And while there are several definitions of public health, the main one that I wanted to go over for this presentation is more that public health is defined by the behavioral, social, economic factors of a person's surroundings and their well-being for the community. For the actual study area, I went to communicate with different cities, and the one that accepted me was the city of Saramone. It is a city in the northern section of California with a population of around 87,000 people. And it serves to be a suburb city to San Francisco, as you can see on the map to the right. So when I was confronted with this problem of, hey, I want to try to communicate public health issues to the city from its people, first thing I needed to do was actually do some research. As I went over a little bit, I first did some basic information about the study area, but then I interviewed two people from the actual city government, being Laura Barr and Andrew Sinnett. And they actually showed me a pre-existing technology that they are using, which is CRM. And while that has a lot of things I was actually looking for to actually be able to do, there was zero GIS factors into it, and you have to manually input addresses by hand. So I set out to actually go out and make it have GIS properties. So first thing I did was I started to develop a map. And then I decided to look into different software to actually help me make the app, in which I ended up using Arc App Builder to actually build the application. From there, I realized I actually needed to make one particular layer, not several layers, to actually create a actual way for people to actually communicate through. And then once I finally finished the application, I decided to actually tie it to a dashboard to present it all for everyone. In which, to test it all out, I enlisted several of my friends to go around and start taking pictures, and I made sure that each individual incident type was somehow represented in this in the dashboard. So for the actual incidents field, I decided to actually put in different fields in here. I did fixed time, type of incident solved, details, month, year, spam, and photos. I decided to only limit it to these 8 because while I wanted to actually put in more, it just felt like that a lot of the information that I want to put in is unnecessary. And a lot of these are self-explanatory. Fixed time is when, if it is being reported, when that incident is actually being fixed. Type of incidents, I have actually a category of different incident types, which I'll go over later. I have whether or not the problem is solved is a Boolean field of whether or not it's solved or not. Details is a 1,000 character string file in which you can actually put in additional information. Month and year is the month and year of the reported incident type. Spam is whether or not if this information is considered to be just random information or if it's actually meaningful information. And then photos, it feels as 3 different photos could be uploaded to supply further detail. And for the actual incident types, here are a list of them. They're pretty self-explanatory. I got most of these from the CRM application that I was talking about previously. However, I added some of my own that I thought were needed, like encroachment issues, which I talked about with the government that I think is really needed for this application. So now I'm actually going to be playing a video for you all of the application in use. So let me pull that up real quick. When a person comes on an incident, what will happen is that they'll pull up the app and they'll like to report a new incident, so that they'll click on the new incident. A disclaimer will pop up for the first time when they open up the app. Upon reading it, they would agree. And now a location will appear. If they're doing this on the phone, they can click this button to get their current location in case they move around. From here, they get to choose what file type they want to submit to be attached to this report. And for this example, I'll choose camera. And then they get to take a picture. And you can submit up to 3, but since this is a very simple incident, I'm just going to do this. And then from here, they get to add details. The first detail, it would be the date. And by default, it sets it to the current date, but users could change the date based on when they spot the incident. Next is the type of incident. There are several different types of incidents. However, for this case, it'll be just debris we're interested in because debris is on the ground. The issue is not solved, so I'll leave it as default. Any details, this is a very simple incident, so I'm not going to add any details. And then they want you to put in the month and the year. The year is correct, but it's currently the 12th. And then they would hit summarize. And then they get to like to make sure that everything is proper. And then they'll hit submit, and now it's done. Okay, now I'll go over and talk about with the application being done. I want to talk a little bit about the dashboard that I actually made out of this. When I was making the dashboard, there were 3 main factors that I wanted to keep in mind that I want to make sure for the dashboard to actually have. I wanted it to be very transparent. I wanted people to actually be able to see what is actually being done and make sure that, hey, our files are being submitted, that there really isn't anything hidden, making everything public. And I want to allow citizens to make sure that, hey, our issues are being addressed and actually see things change on the map, as well as have the ability for the government to actually implement this dashboard onto their website very easily and effectively. I wanted to be able for this dashboard to have some research purposes. I wanted to so that people can identify trends and actually report on it, as well as filter out any information that they can see as being considered to be spam and unnecessary. And finally, I wanted to make sure that this dashboard can actually be useful for the government body itself, for different faculties, just to make sure that this this tool isn't being set aside. So now I got one more video that I was going to share. And this is the dashboard. All the information that will be reported from the application will be brought here onto this dashboard. This dashboard is the desktop version of the dashboard. There's also an application version of the dashboard, which shows the same thing but laid out a bit differently. This application's purpose is to show off all the little details of everything that's been reported, and you can interact with them and do basic statistics with them. On the far left is the most recent incident that's being reported, while down below is the table of those incidents being reported, just in case if you want to see a little bit more detail. Up above right here is a map in which you can drag around, look at different areas of Saramone if you want to go and find a particular incident that you want to look into. You can also click on it and a pop-up will appear. I'll get into more of that later. And right here you have three different charts. You got one that shows from everything that is being filtered up from up here, all the different incidents, spaced by month and how many are in each. Right here is the total number of incidents being counted. And right here is a table of all the incident types that are currently being displayed on the map. We could click a particular incident if you want to see what's going on. Right here, we got a trash situation that isn't declared to be spam, hasn't been solved. Right here, you can see the details that people put out, and then the type of incident, as well as a few pictures. In case we want to click on, see where they are, you can actually click the table and we'll zoom in. But if you click this list, it'll actually go over and it will select it for you so you can actually view the type of incident. Right up here, we got different filters, and the ideas behind the filters is that if you want to filter out to try to see when particular instances are reported, or if there's any spam, or just to view all the spam or no spam. Incident types, you can actually filter it up here. We got one selected by the month, so February, December. We only got 4 months so far. For the year, we only report incidents in 2022. Whether or not the problem has been designated as solved or not. Choosing an actual incident type that has been reported, and you can actually select multiple of these. Same thing with the month, you can actually select multiple months if you really wanted to. And all the tables do get updated by them, as you can see right below here, as well as the two lists. And then whether or not if it's designated as spam or not. Okay, we just got a few more slides here. So with all this done, what future steps I want to actually take place in order to actually make this more fine-tuned all relates to improvements for the application. The first thing that I was talking about with the city was that I wanted to actually create a ID system so that people can log in and then put in their information. The reason why I wanted to do this and why the city actually really liked this was to help figure out if for any potential spam issues, what's going on. Is it one person doing it, or is it just a one-time incident from a particular person? And as well as some additional automation improvements, because for the month and the year, you have to manually put it in. However, I want to make it so that eventually, just when you hit the send button, it automatically fills in those information. Finally, I want to thank my professor Yoga as well as the city of San Ramon. I would like to thank Lorna and Andrew for all the help that they contributed. And then now I'll open up for questions.